Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Heather McCauley, Associate Professor in the School of Social Work at Michigan State University. I am here to welcome you to our program, Sparking Communities for Change, Michigan. I am a researcher who is passionate about ending violence in all of its forms, and I'm honored to partner with Dr. Joanne Smith-Darden to lead our federally funded research team, Spark Research for Social Change. Our team's mission is to promote equity and social justice through community-partnered research, training, and practice. We believe that violence prevention is not just a personal issue, but a community issue. And that's why we're thrilled to showcase efforts across Michigan that focus on community togetherness and violence prevention in youth through programs that engage young people at every age. In the first segment, Sparking Communities for Change Grand Rapids, we feature Safe Haven Ministries and the Grand Rapids Public Library. We'll see the Affinity Mentoring Organization in action, which partners with schools to match students with a caring adult role model for 1 hour a week. We'll also learn about Grow, Engage, Read, Imagine, a Safe Haven initiative that uses books to promote healthy social norms. These stories teach children about boundaries and communication in a developmentally appropriate way to protect their readers against violence. They also highlight the power of inclusivity to foster a sense of community.
Affinity Mentoring is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that partners with local schools and businesses in the surrounding area to really bring a mentor from the community to walk alongside a particular student for 1 hour once a week.
Now Michelle's gonna be looking for you and she's gonna be like, where's Gianna?
I'm Gianna and I'm a mentee.
Hi, I'm Michelle and I'm a mentor. We work together for 1 hour a week and we have a relationship to learn more about each other. We get a chance to work on some educational pieces like maybe helping with math and with reading. We're doing a really good job with reading right now. Yeah. And also some more of the social emotional aspects and how we can develop those skills within kids in the school district.
Like every time I see her, I try to wear my best clothes to see her.
I would say that Gianna's more than just my mentee. I think she's my friend.
Best friend.
Best friend.
Research has showed us that every child needs 5 to 7 caring adults in their life to be able to succeed as much as they possibly could have. Sometimes our parents are single parent households, or they have parents that are working 2 to 3 jobs that can't give them that additional one-on-one time that every student craves. And so with having an additional mentor or an additional adult come into their life who is a supportive, caring, loving, safe person, they're able to receive that additional support that they need.
Your emotions don't work well when they're all jumbled up. You should try to separate them and put each one in its own jar. If you'd like, I can help you. Let's try to make sense of how you feel.
At the Affinity Mentoring, I like to do reading, writing, creating things, and spending time with Hannah.
Maybe she can be the neighbor that comes to visit.
I feel like maybe the world isn't always so nice, and she needs someone to tell her she's awesome.
I am a different trusted adult in her life than her mom or her dad or her family in general or her teachers and her principals. It's not just about the fact that her reading skills have improved or her math skills have improved. It's about the fact that she can deal with things and handle situations in a way that maybe she didn't have all of the skills to do before. I'm just here to help amplify that.
Sometimes when I get really angry, I just when someone's being mean to me, I just get out of control. She tells me I should use my words instead of my hands because sometimes I get really mad.
We've learned a lot about boundaries and how those keep us safe and other people safe. And we've learned about just being with people who maybe aren't like us.
When you're afraid, you feel tiny. You think you don't have the courage to face the gray shadows, but I can help you find your way.
It's a ripple effect, and by impacting the life of one child, we then impact a whole community, because this is generational work that we're doing, and it's not just one child, it's one family, it's one parent, one father, one sibling, and they will go on to also create their own ripple effect within the community.
When you feel like that connection, that togetherness to your community, that sense of belonging and that sense of welcome to your community, that just keeps you from wanting to harm your community or wanting to be a part of anything that is harmful in your community.
This is a boy named Julian, and this is his abuela, and those are some mermaids. Julian loves mermaids.
I often hear from parents that they really are committed to having conversations with their kids around violence prevention, but they don't necessarily have the tools or the language to know how to do that effectively.
Jerry, which stands for Grow, Engage, Read, Imagine, is a reading program that was conceived of by Safe Haven Ministries and is now a partnership effort between the Grand Rapids Public Library, Safe Haven, and MSU.
Kids love to read. They love to imagine worlds outside of the world in which they live in. And so utilizing books and stories, but then also these amazing tools that go alongside those books that help parents develop the language in a developmentally appropriate way, that empower parents to feel confident that they can take the themes of the book and reinforce those messages with those kids.
Remember Mr. Rigo that lived across the street from us? Rigoberto. That was his full name.
Rigoberto.
Yep.
We just moved here from
Venezuela.
These particular books target the social emotional learning of students, and what they target is in a unique way talking about why do you set boundaries, why is it important to set boundaries. It's also important not to keep secrets even when someone might tell you to keep a secret, why it's also important to talk about your feelings and how feeling mad, it's okay. It's also okay to feel sad, but what do we do after we feel that, and how do we react to those kind of feelings is also what's important.
In the sky. In the sky.
Yeah, good job, man.
I want to get another one.
You can get another one.
We are always looking for ways to improve our community, and we understand that we are just one organization and that no organization can do it alone.
All these different organizations, between Affinity Mentoring and the library, GR Public Library, and Safe Haven, we are all just pieces of the same puzzle, all coming together to try to help out the community to be a safer place, healthier place for families.
Unfortunately, here in Kent County and in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we have seen a devastating level of increase in violence across all communities. Last year, we nearly doubled domestic violence homicides in our community.
One of our core beliefs is that violence is preventable, and that's part of what the work is that we do in the prevention team, is to help people to see all the different ways that your community can serve as protection. It can serve as a protective factor for you, which is the opposite of those risk factors.
We work deeply throughout our community to empower and equip every single person that is willing to work towards that mission. We believe that every person, every child, every adult deserves a life free of violence.
Next, in Sparking Communities for Change, Taylor, we visit Hoover Middle School in Taylor, Michigan. This school was selected for the Youth Empowerment Solutions for Healthy Relationships program, which features curricula centered around the prevention of sexual violence and teen dating violence. The students in this program have taken initiative in many ways throughout the school to promote community togetherness, including painting murals throughout the building, providing an opportunity for students to leave their legacy.
So when we're talking about relationships, we're not just talking about one type of relationship, we're talking about all of these relationships, okay? Now the next part that I want you guys to think about are unhealthy behaviors and healthy behaviors that we have with all those different types of relationships.
Respect, dependable, responsible.
If we're looking at all the research and the data, we have seen relationship violence skyrocket in the last decade. And what we're finding out is that we have to put programs in place early on to teach students about healthy relationships, about what a good relationship looks like.
Youth Empowerment Solutions came about as a result of a longitudinal study where we looked at middle school and high school kids over time and just looked at what behaviors they endorsed, whether they were risky or protective. And once we teased those out, we built a curriculum to empower youth to make good choices in middle school and high school. We were funded by the CDC, and we were lucky enough to get school districts to partner with us so that we could embed our curriculum in their social studies classes.
When you've worked hard on something and you feel that sense of accomplishment, it makes you feel good. You treat it better. When you guys are treating it better, you also expect others to treat it better. So it's not just the adults in the room or in the school, it's you guys as well, because you're an example.
We found through our research that peer relationships and a sense of belonging and connectedness trumps even parental input, particularly with 6th grade and 7th grade kids. So we knew this is where we need to enter if we were going to make a significant change, or we wanted to affect climate and culture in a school environment.
My name is Tara Warga, and I'm a teacher here at Hoover Middle School, and I teach the SHR program, the Youth Empowerment Solutions for Healthy Relationships. The SHR first starts with kind of evaluating students' personal values. They learn how to communicate with one another in sort of an assertive way, and they're able to establish boundaries with each other. And then they kind of look at their school community and they figure out ways to improve that. They look at their weaknesses in school.
It really brushes up on stuff that you need to learn, because a lot of the times when you learn things like how to communicate with people, you learn it like in preschool and kindergarten and things like that, but then they don't really touch up on that subject. And now is the time where it's most important, honestly, and this really touches up on that and just makes communication so much better.
It kind of prepped me for what to expect and what's not okay and what is okay with relationships. And I think that's important when making the transition from middle school to high school. So I think it helped a lot.
A lot of things that we learned about in the SHI program really affected me and changed me as a person, because it was about character development and how to improve yourself and the people around you.
Like I said, you can't go wrong when you do right.
That's good, Nick.
Those healthy relationships tied together with those community projects brought the kids out, and they were empowered to make change within our building.
We started with a bench outside that they worked on and put together, budgeted their money, which improves that school, makes it look nicer.
We had a big problem with our garden and our things out front, and students one year, it was, Mr. Hall, we want to renovate the front of the building, and they planted flowers and put new mulch down, and that was important to them.
One of my favorite activities was when we painted the ceiling tiles and left our mark for the future kids.
We did ceiling tiles, and it's really a great way for us to get our artistic expression, and just, you know, it's a bit different than what normal class would offer, and it really helps students a lot. And I'm not really an arts person, but it really helped me express more of my creative side, honestly.
We came into schools where behaviors were escalating. It was difficult for students to get along, but when you give them a project to work toward common good, they come together in ways that surprised everyone.
I have noticed a behavior change. At the beginning, of course, you know, it's who am I going to sit by, who's going to be in my group, and towards the end, because they're working on something together, I notice that their confidence is so high that they're in charge of their own projects that they start to treat each other nicely almost naturally.
I like that. That's pretty.
Walking back through the school, like, it just feels like more uplifting, and like it feels like a better community to be in. Like, Hoover was a great community at first, but like being able to like look back and like see all the uplifting and powerful stuff that we put in is really like cool to see, like, students actually enjoy to be there.
The students, when they leave the SHR program, have added so much to the culture of our building and learned so much about each other, about setting those healthy boundaries, about communicating with each other, about making community change projects within our building that are important to them.
We learn about being an upstander and not being a bystander. And I think that that's probably the biggest thing that they face, is how not to be a passive witness to negative behavior. A lot of the students come up to me and say, some of the things that I used to do, I stopped and I thought about it because I thought about the impact.
Often when schools receive research dollars, the programs go away when it's over. This school in particular has taken forward what we started back in 2016, and it's alive and well today, and it continues to thrive.
I think my favorite part about being a Hoover Hawk is just being involved, and the people here are good, teachers are nice, it's a very welcoming place. It's very nice to be here.
My hope for the students who leave this class is that they're able to see we all kind of want the same things. And the best way to do that is working together in a healthy way, respecting each other, not just because we're asking them to, but because they know that when they respected each other, they had a better outcome.
Finally, in Sparking Communities for Change East Lansing, we visit Michigan State University, where we speak to both faculty and students at the School of Social Work. They reflect on the recent shooting on campus, discuss the importance of violence prevention, and explain how the School of Social Work is training the next generation of change makers. We also learn about Spark Research for Social Change, a research team that values walking alongside community partners to amplify efforts to build safe and connected communities. Run, hide, fight. Those were the words that we received via text, via email, via phone call to alert us that there was an active shooter on campus.
I don't know that I ever thought that it would happen at Michigan State. The fact that it happened here only ignited us further to continue our work and to look at creative solutions for violence prevention.
I'm Dr. Heather McCauley. I'm an associate professor in the School of Social Work at Michigan State University. And my graduate training is in global health and social epidemiology.
And I'm Jo Smith-Darden. I am the Ruth Kohler Endowed Professor in Children's Services and Associate Professor at the Michigan State School of Social Work.
In February, there was a mass shooting incident here at Michigan State University. It's greatly impacted students, faculty, and staff in terms of the sense of safety, a sense of belonging. When it comes home to your home, it really makes you think differently about it.
It was important in the wake of February 13th that our students have spaces to come together and just be with one another.
Room 155 is an opportunity for folks to come and relax, refresh, and reflect. Berkey Hall is not open, and so many of our students were taking classes there, and this is really just an alternative space for folks to take a break and get away from things.
Like positive, like very uplifting environment as well.
Heather and I started to work on some projects around community change. The bell idea came about because it's something that any community can do. Messages are left, and the idea is that when you hear the bells chime or when you hear them on the trees and the wind blows, and those sounds symbolize that change is in the wind. So the idea is that change is coming.
High five, high five. High five it. Love it.
Spark Research for Social Change is purpose-driven. It values social justice. It's a collaborative space for people with those shared values to come together and normalize conversations around violence prevention, normalize conversations that empower community.
The Spark Lab is based here in the School of Social Work at Michigan State University. It was the creation of Dr. Smith Darden and Dr. Heather McCauley. They came together really with a shared passion to innovate and create new ways of looking at violence, approaching violence prevention, and working with communities.
We like a good theme.
We do like a good theme, and we kept trying to think of what descriptor would work best around the aspects of our work together. And it was about igniting, sparking, in some way kindling ideas that maybe haven't been tried before in terms of research approaches.
The name really describes the dynamic very well. I like to think of it as like a think hub or a think tank for scholars from different backgrounds. It's an interdisciplinary hub for people to come together and spark ideas, share presentations. We ask each other very important questions about what it means to make social change. We collaborate in a way that is very supportive.
And it really is a jumping off point for kind of the next generation of violence researchers and violence prevention researchers. It's really exciting to have this lab in social work because it is a model that's been used quite a bit in other sciences. We don't tend to see the lab model used as much in social work, but it's a really powerful change agent.
I should not have to consider which backpack will provide the most safety against gun violence when sending my son to school.
The events that have occurred here on our campus these last several months have allowed students to shift gears. A lot of our students, even in some of their coursework this term, have taken on policy efforts, have taken legislation before, the state representatives, as well as local communities and K-12 schools. And they now are finding ways to actively engage in policy and advocacy around gun violence, but also around legislation.
Our students were really active in some of the gun violence legislation that Michigan just passed. And that was, I think, a direct result of the shooting happening here in their home. Luckily, we have an incredible group of faculty that will help guide them and help them understand the community impacts, the research impacts, and really what we need to do to be intervening to eradicate violence.
I believe when our students choose a program, they have to be bold and brave to choose to make the dedication to study social work. And in response to that, our program has continued to be bold and brave in terms of our programming, our offering, and the work that we're doing in the community. That has allowed us to fulfill our mission as a land-grant institution, ensuring that we have access to folks across the state of Michigan. We are also seeing an increasing number of folks coming from out of state as well as international because of the reach of our programs.
Our hope is that we grow researchers that want to carry on this work in a different way, with a different lens, in ways that Heather and I haven't even thought about yet. So as they march out into this world, whether it's across the country, globally, we hope that they go forward and think of innovative ways to address violence prevention.
I'm a social epidemiologist by training, which means I'm interested in the ways our health and well-being are shaped by the social forces that organize our society. More specifically, I have spent the last 2 decades focused on how we can prevent violence in our relationships, schools, and communities. Our research teams have found that fostering a sense of belonging is one of the most powerful acts we can leverage to create a safe and just future. My friends, this is something we know how to do as Spartans, and I ask you to never forget that you have this special skill in your toolbox. To the graduating class of 2023, we are Spartans today and always. Go green. We are alive with purpose and passion to end violence in all of its forms, and the rights and safety of children is one of our most important priorities. By fostering a sense of togetherness and empowering youth to be agents of change, Vibrant community endeavors are paving the way for a safer and more equitable future. It's up to all of us to continue to support these efforts and to work together to create a world where every individual feels safe and empowered to reach their potential. Thank you for joining us in Sparking Communities for Change, Michigan. In closing, I want you all to remember that change begins with one single spark.
To learn more about Spark research for social change, please visit sparkforchange.com.